On a quiet, starry night, a little cat named Lucy sat by her window, gazing at the sky. Her eyes were fixed on the large, glowing moon. To her, it looked like a golden ball swinging gently in the sky. She wished she could touch it or play with it. With a spark of excitement, Lucy said to herself, if I could reach the moon, I would be the happiest cat in the world. The next morning, Lucy decided to embark on her adventure. She thought of many ways to reach the moon, starting with jumping. She climbed to the top of her house, gathered all her strength, and leapt as high as she could. But instead of flying toward the moon, she landed on a pile of hay near the house. Disappointed but not discouraged, Lucy dusted herself off. As she tried to recover, a small rabbit passed by and chuckled, saying, "Are you trying to fly, Lucy?" Lucy smiled and replied, "No, I'm trying to reach the moon." The rabbit laughed kindly and said, "The moon is very far away, Lucy, but it's always beautiful just as it is." Lucy didn't give up and decided to try something new. The next day, she waited for a flock of birds to pass by. When she saw them, she called out, "Birds, please take me with you to the moon." The birds looked at her in surprise, but decided to help. They flew around her and tried to lift her, but she was too heavy for them. One of the birds gently said, "Lucy, the moon is far beyond our reach, even for us. But remember, it's always close to your heart." Lucy felt a little discouraged but remained determined. On the third day, she decided to climb a very tall tree in a nearby garden. The tree was big and full of branches, but Lucy wasn't afraid. She started climbing slowly, branch by branch, until she reached the highest point she could. She looked up at the moon, but it still seemed so far away. She sat on a branch and began to cry. It felt like her dream was impossible, and she wondered why the moon seemed so close yet was truly out of reach. As she sat there crying, something magical happened. A soft, warm light surrounded her, and she heard a gentle voice say, "Why are you crying, little Lucy?" She looked around in surprise, and realized the voice was coming from the moon itself. She said, "I want to reach you, but no matter how hard I try, I can't." The moon smiled and said, "You don't need to touch me to be happy, Lucy. I'm always here to light your path and remind you that dreams are not just about reaching the goal but about the joy of the journey." Lucy lifted her head and looked at the moon with a shy smile. Suddenly, she felt warm and comforted. She realized that the moon had always been there, watching over her and lighting her world. She didn't need to touch it to feel happy. From that night on, Lucy saw the moon differently. She no longer dreamed of reaching it but instead enjoyed looking at it as it lit up the night sky and filled her heart with peace. She had learned that happiness is not always about achieving dreams but about the journey we take to pursue them. And so, the moon remained in the sky, and Lucy stayed on the ground, but they became lifelong friends.